Good day, Mamana. My name is Junal Asganingan from BS Ed Social Studies 2. So for today, my topic is all about the source of Philippine education jurisprudence. So the objective of this topic is to determine the legal sources of Philippine education. Number 2, to introduce the laws that gives every Filipino the freedom to learn and to be educated. And number 3, to know the rights of students and teachers under the law provided by the state. Introduction. So the Philippines' traditional value of stressing the importance of education has been codified and incorporated into the constitutions and laws of the country. So in the Philippines, there are 3 levels of education, namely elementary, secondary, and tertiary. Public and private elementary and secondary education fall under the jurisdictions of the Department of Education or the DepEd, while tertiary education falls under the jurisdiction of the Commission of the Higher Education or the CHED. So, these are the source of Philippine education jurisprudence. Number 1 is the Constitution. So, Constitution is the basic principles and laws of a nation, state, or social group that determine the powers and duties of the government and guarantee certain rights to the people in it. So, these are the major legal bases. The Philippine Constitutions. Number 1 is the 1935 Constitution, Article 14, Section 5. Number 2 is the 1973 Constitution, the Article 15, Section 8. And number 3, the major legal basis of the Philippine Constitution is the 1987 Constitution, Article 14, Sections 1 to 5. So number 1 is the 1935 Constitution, Article 14, Section 5. So this is the general provisions. Section 5. All educational institutions shall be under the supervision of and subject to regulation by the state. So the government shall establish and maintain a complete and adequate system of public education and shall provide at least free public primary instruction and citizenship training to adult citizens. All schools shall aim to develop moral character, personal discipline, civic conscience, and vocational efficiency, and to teach the duties of citizenship. So optional religious instruction shall be maintained in the public or the public schools as now authorized by law. Universities established by the state shall enjoy academic freedom, and the state shall create scholarship in arts, science, and letters for especially gifted citizens. So, number 2 is all about the 1973 Constitution, Article 15, Section 8. So, this is the Section 8. All educational institutions shall be under the supervision of and subject to regulation by the state. The state shall establish and maintain a complete and adequate and integrated system of education relevant to the goals of national development. Number 2, all institutions of higher learning shall enjoy academic freedom. Number 3, the study of the Constitution shall be part of the curricula in all schools. Number 4, all educational institutions shall aim to inculcate love of country, teach the duties of citizenship, and develop moral character, personal discipline, and scientific, technological, and vocational efficiency. Number 5, the state shall maintain a system of free public elementary education and, in areas where finances permit, establish and maintain a system of free public education at least up to the secondary level. Number 6, the state shall provide citizenship and vocational training to adult citizens and out-of-school youth and create and maintain scholarship for poor and deserving students. Number 7, educational institutions other than those established by religious orders, mission boards, and charitable organizations shall be owned solely by citizens of the Philippines or corporations or associations 60% room or of the capital of which is owned by such citizens. So the control and administration of educational institutions shall be vested in citizens of the Philippines. No educational institution shall be established exclusively for aliens, and no group of aliens shall comprise more than 1/3 of the enrollment in any schools. The provisions of this subsection shall not apply to schools established for foreign diplomatic personnel and their dependents, and unless otherwise provided by law for other foreign temporary residents. Number 8. At the options expressed in writing by the parents or guardians, and without cost to them and the government, religion shall be taught to their children or wards in public elementary and high school as may be provided by law. Number 3. So, this is all about the 1987 Constitution, Article 14, Sections 1 to 5. So, this article is about education, science and technology, arts, culture, and sports. Section 1. The state shall protect and promote the right of all citizens to quality education at all levels and shall take appropriate steps to make such education accessible to all. Section 2. The state shall, number 1, establish, maintain, and support a complete, adequate, and integrated systems of education relevant to the needs of the people and society. Number 2. Establish and maintain a system of free public education in the elementary and high school levels. Without limiting the natural right of parents to rear their children, elementary education is compulsory for all children of school age. Number 3. Establish and maintain a system of scholarship grants, students' loan programs, subsidies, and other incentives which shall be available to deserving students in both public and private schools, especially to the underprivileged. Number 4. Encourage non-formal, informal, and indigenous learning systems as well as self-learning, independent, and out-of-school study programs, particularly those that respond to community needs. And number 5. Provide adult citizens, the disabled, and out-of-school youth with training in civics, vocational efficiency, and other skills. Section 3. Number 1. All educational institutions shall include the study of the Constitution as part of the curricula. Number 2. They shall inculcate patriotism and nationalism, foster love of humanity, respect for human rights, appreciation of the role of national heroes in the historical development of the country, teach the rights and duties of citizenship, strengthen ethical and spiritual values, develop moral character and personal discipline, encourage critical and creative thinking, broaden scientific and technological knowledge, and promote vocational efficiency. Number 3. At the option expressed in writing by the parents or guardians, religion shall be allowed to be taught to their children or wards in public elementary and high schools within the regular class hours by instructors designated or approved by the religious authorities of the religion to which the children or wards belong without additional cost to the government. Section 4. Number 1. The state recognizes the complementary roles of public and private institutions in the educational system and shall exercise reasonable supervisions and regulation of all educational institutions. Number 2. Educational institutions other than those established by religious groups and mission boards shall be owned solely by citizens of the Philippines or corporations of association, at least 60% of the capital of which is owned by such citizens. The Congress may, however, require increased Filipino equity participation in all educational institutions. The control and administration of educational institutions shall be vested in citizens of the Philippines. No educational institution shall be established exclusively for aliens, and no group of aliens shall comprise more than 1/3 of the enrollment in any schools. The provisions of this subsection shall not apply to schools established by foreign diplomatic personnel and their dependents, and unless otherwise provided by law for other foreign temporary residents. Number 3 of Section 4. All revenues and assets of non-stocked, non-profit educational institution used actually, directly, and exclusively for educational purposes shall be exempt from taxes and duties. Upon the dissolution or the cessation of the corporate existence of such institutions, their assets shall be disposed of in the manner provided by law. Number 4 of Section 4. Subject to conditions prescribed by law, all grants, endowments, donations, or contributions used actually directly and exclusively for educational purposes shall be exempt from tax. Section 5. Number 1. The state shall take into account regional and sectoral needs and conditions and shall encourage local planning in the development of educational policies and programs. Number 2 of Section 5. Academic freedom shall be enjoyed in all institutions of higher learning. Number 3 of Section 5. Every citizen has a right to select a profession or course of study subject to fair, reasonable, and equitable admission and academic requirements. Number 4 of Section 5. The state shall enhance the right of teachers to professional advancement. Non-teaching academic and non-academic personnel shall enjoy the protection of the state. Number 5 of Section 5. The state shall assign the highest budgetary priority to education and ensure that teaching will attract and retain its rightful share of the best available talents through the adequate remuneration and other means of job satisfaction and fulfillment. Constitutional education. So, in constitutional education, it states there that the state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children of the age 16 to 14 years in such manner as state may or by law determine. So, this is the second source of the Philippine educational jurisprudence. This is the statute. A statute is a formal written enactment of a legislative authority that governs a country, state, city, or county. Typically, statutes commands or prohibit something or declare policy. So, this is an example. A police officer pulls you over and you are given a citation for violating the speed limit. You have broken a vehicle and traffic law. So, this law is established by legislator as a statute or a law that is formally written and enacted. As a result, the law you broke was a statutory law. So, extra information. There is a difference between the statutes and laws. You might be confused. So, statute is written laws originating from municipalities, the states, or national legislators. So, laws are written or unwritten guidelines or rules that are followed by communities. So, statutes are not cumulative. Each legislative session has a separate volume. Act refers to Republic Act number 10533 or the K-12 program. So the statute made to enhance basic education of 2013. Number 1. An act enhancing the Philippine basic education system by strengthening its curriculum and increasing the number of years for basic education, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, or otherwise known as the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013. So this is another act. So this is called the Republic Act of 7877. So this act is an act declaring sexual harassment and unlawfulness in the employment, education, or training environment and for other purposes. So, last is the Education Act of 1982. So this act is an act providing for the establishment and maintenance of an integrated system of education. In accordance with Section 2, this act shall apply to and govern both formal and non-formal systems in public and private schools in all levels of the entire educational system.